Oh, yeah. What a refreshing visit. And this museum is priced just right. It's free. It's a hell of a deal. Even if you had to pay money, it'd be well worth a visit. And they have some air conditioned rooms, even. So you could beat the heat for a bit. Interesting piece of stonework. Really cool artisticness. Some more pottery. So it's really cool. There's a taco map in real relief with some rivers drawn on the plexiglass above it. Show you this region is more than just a really hot little beach town. Although I know a lot of you guys love beaches. Time for a hike. There's a lost city you can go see. It takes 4 days and quite a bit of money, at least from my perspective. I really love this kind of pottery. They discovered a grave that contained a lot of the booty you see right here. Pretty cool. Of course, it isn't cool down by the bay. It's pretty damn hot, to be honest. It's really impressive ornamentals. So this explains a little more nocturnal flight of the wing pendants, which I just tried to show you through the glass. I'm not sure that it really displayed well, but it's a pretty cool place. And it's bilingual, so you don't even have to use Google Translate if you can't read Spanish. There's a little highlight some of the English for you. It's well written, I might add, much better than I've observed in other museums throughout Latin America. But there's a different Europe. And there's a lot more shapes as well as different stones used. Check this out. It's like petroglyphs for glyphs. Different than the ones in the Blue Ridge Mountains, but does make me think of them. Really cool pottery. Reminds me of some of the stuff that I saw at the Anthropology Museum in Mexico City in Basque. Really rad. Love the faces. Those objects, yes, they were buried with someone of significance, much like the ones displayed in the museum in Mexico City that I alluded to. This is the depiction of how the burials were done. And like, you can read a lot more if you come here. They would collect the bones and put them in the jugs that I showed you previously. Later on. The world of the dead reveals the world of the living and its complex beliefs about death. There were differences in the two pre-Hispanic periods in the shapes of graves, types of burials, funeral goods, suggesting difference in age, gender, family group, and social rank, as well as regional identities. More booty. But remember, you can't really take it with you. Funerals are for the living, not the dead. They pan for this gold on the northern slopes from the sand. It has some silver particles, and then they additionally mined copper, and they made an alloy with three metals, which is quite common throughout the Americas. This isn't exactly what the Spaniards are looking for, but they would gladly take it. Pizarro and his friends in Peru couldn't tell the difference between this alloy and real gold. So they kind of scammed the king, but it was more or less by accident. Hey, but Pizarro died for his sins in Lima. And if you've been following my trips for a few years, you have surely seen his skeleton on display in the cathedral there. Live by the sword, die by the sword. These examples of Tambaga show you the difference in the alloys, where some have more silver or copper added and the colors change. There's quite a bit of information about this at the Gold Museum in Bogota as well. Animals were an important in the material and the symbolic lives of the people of Sierra Nevada. Birds, snakes, bats, frogs, and felines were depicted in metal, clay, shell, bone, and stone to express metaphors about society and the cosmos. It's a pretty rad artist, if you ask me. Very, very intricate and detailed artwork. Quite interesting. Difficult filming through the glass. My favorite are these frogs. My favorite is these frogs. During some eras, the finery in the gold was restricted to the highest ranking members of social groups. Not unlike over in Europe. Hey, capitalism. So I guess that's a good reason why I don't wear gold. Rich people problem. Oh yeah, some really cool stuff here. Some great art. This is really rad. This is how they could make scrolls and art into their pottery. Really cool. And I've seen this at quite a few museums throughout the Americas. The Batman. This almost looks Egyptian. It's really crazy and intricate. Really rad stuff. You should come here in person and check it out. Especially you beach people that love the heat. This would be an awesome venture, and it's air conditioned in this room. To a certain identity. It's a really intricate artwork here. It probably doesn't do it justice. So this is no substitute for a visit of your own. I hope this helps inspire you to come see Colombia. Check it out. Simón Bolívar was here. He stayed here before he went to La Quinta that I covered in a previous video. So check it out if you haven't seen it. Click the link. There's a view from the balcony of Simón Bolívar Park. Most of this room is in Spanish, which isn't hard to read. And it's all about Simón Bolívar's life and the struggle for independence of South America. There is 3 plaques that actually feature some English, giving you the basic gist of his biography or his life. And it's probably perfect for the average American's attention span. If you want to know more, there's an awesome series called Bolivar on Netflix. Yes, it's in Spanish, but you can get English subscripts to make it easy. So this is the old customs house, and they renovated a bedroom up here at Simón Bolívar. He was awaiting transport to Europe. However, he later went to La Quinta, but 16 days after arriving here, his body was brought back and put on display downstairs. While there's a great view of the bay upstairs, he preferred to be downstairs where there were rings to hang his hammock. A kind of like river hippie, but a very rich one. And this gives you a view of the bay. There are cargo container cranes present out there, by the way. And in his era, this would have been an unobstructed view, as that reinforced concrete building surely wasn't there. This museum also features a lot of architectural history and regional history, and about tourism, how they really started kicking it off in 1964. So if you are into such interesting items, you shouldn't miss a trip to the Gold Museum in Santa Marta during your Caribbean vacation. And Colombia, much like the rest of the Americas, had problems with religion and repressive society. The people mixed of African and Indian blood were treated very poorly. There were the typical problems in Colombia, like most of the Americas, involving slavery, ill treatment of Indians, the aristocrats, and it's a long story and not very happy. However, first they freed the children of slaves who were born free, and then all the slaves were freed by 1851, which is 21 years after the liberation from Spain. Hey, it's still sooner than when the emancipation occurred in the United States, though. Continuous wars with the Spain versus the English and France are quite entertaining, and hey, that's what drives the whole Pirate of the Caribbean themes. And well, it really did happen. And some of the stories are just over the top and maybe hard to believe. Yeah, come check it out yourself. This museum has a wealth of information about how people lived in Santa Marta and the Caribbean. Hugely worth a visit. This display explains why this is Santa Marta, as it was discovered on July 29th, 1501, on St. Martha's Day. She was the sister of Lazarus, and some miracles are attributed to her. You can read more about that right here if you care to. More historic pictures and information about this building are available as well. Here's some various archaeological diggings that found all sorts of stuff from before and after the conquest. Forged nails remind me of something. Why did Daniel Boone always burn down his cabin before he moved? Because the nails are the most important and valuable part of the cabin, and he collected them and took them with him to build the next one. It was a lot of labor to make these hand-forged nails. This display is making me hungry. The dance of the canyons. Wow. You're going to have to come here to find out why they do this. You might think it's morbid if I tell you. Cayman Man legend. This is rich. And this room is dedicated to the people's textiles. Pre-Hispanic for the most part. So this is the view of the bay that Simón Bolívar may have enjoyed toward the very end of his life. So close to disembarking for Europe, but here he died in Santa Marta. Just behind me is the Gold Museum, maybe a block away. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like, give it a share, subscribe, and consider leaving a donation. Super thanks, or maybe even through Venmo. Love you. Hope you're having a great winter and an even better life.